dedicate my life to myself because I know if I do it, I can bang this out in 2 years and be ready for you. If this is love, I'll be ready for you. I'm not going nowhere. I'm not going to tell her that.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Blackbird 91. We are talking to you guys, about Married at First Sight. And we're dealing with the fact that, just told Katina, basically, don't choose me, choose yourself. Men have a habit of being selfless in these type of moments where we would choose ourselves before we choose you. We would choose our education, our career before we choose you, because we are often defined by those particular measures. And so we hear telling Katina, do you know what? Listen, choose you, boo. Choose you, boo. We're going to talk a little bit about him saying those lines and what that means for their marriage and relationship. If you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor, like it, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated because the streets out there, they are hot. Before we get any further, let's play a little bit of the intro. Little black, you know what time it is. 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 All right, Coley. Let's get back into it. I want to go slightly back though, because he starts talking before then. So let's go slightly further back because there was an issues before then.
Katina, what are the things that you want most? Just you.
I think for me, it's just making sure that, that I'm, like you said, like not getting overwhelmed and
Now, this part of the scene, he was talking about, he doesn't want us to be overwhelmed with schooling, looking after him, children, and actually he had a fair point. I'm going to say it again. He had a fair point. He wants to make sure that she can cater to him like Destiny's Child all the way. So I get part of his point because, look, there's a lot to juggle in that space. And is 2 years really realistic in terms of you being able to do your career, then have kids, and then have a married partner? People do it, though. People do it all the time. But he's asking the question, can you do it? Right? Now, whether I agree with him on that aspect, or whether he's asking you, I don't know. But I think he has an ulterior motive behind that. I think the other ulterior motive is that he just doesn't want to look after you. He does not want to have to put money into looking after you. He said it last episode. He was true and he was not lying. I don't want to have to be in a place where the financial burden is all on me. I didn't come in here to be the financial provider or the way where you get to do whatever you want to do for 2 years and I'm looking after you. That was not his MO. That was not his agenda. And that was not his goal or objective. So for him, he needs you to be in a stable place where you're in a career, you're earning money, you've finished your courses, and you're ready to go straight into motherhood and wifehood, right? But I think, again, it's limited perspective in terms of the fact, the motivation, where it comes from. If this was just a genuine, if this, I don't want to say genuine, but it's definitely genuine. But if it was, he had good reasons as to why. Well, again, good reasons is a really poor language for me, because everything will be good according to him. I disagree with his motivations. So in a sense, I think his true motivations here are, I don't want to look after you and her, but it feels like there's a little bit of selfishness behind it in terms of his reasoning. And then talking about, I want you to be in a financially safe place or a better place in your career, etc. It's almost as if like he just wants her unadulterated attention. When they have kids, it's not going to be that way. So I'm even fearful for that, let alone now. Do you know what I'm saying? And she said it herself. He's already quite a lot to look after. So let's have a look more.
and things like that, and seeing that if I can be able to like focus while I'm trying to be a wife. All men require attention, but I think for him, he requires like a little higher level of attention.
And that being one of the reasons why I guess he's actually feeling the way he is about her whole project of trying to balance these several different situations in her hands right now. He needs that unequivocated attention from her. Now, whether we rightly or wrongly agree with that or not makes no difference. That's what he wants. That's what he desires. Therefore, there's a choice to make. I think also there's another aspect here. There's an aspect of, I think, of O looking at Katina like, are you going to be strong enough to make a decision, right? Because it comes to a point where I feel like he's always wanting her to be independent, have her own voice, and say what she needs to say. He's looking for someone to also be as independently strong as he is. He's not looking for someone to rely on his chest. He's not looking for someone to just be to be a damsel in distress. That's not his energy. That's not what he requires from a partner. He's looking for someone who can handle their own, who can do their bit, who can handle their business, which is an energy probably coming from the background that he's been from, the hardship that he's been into. For him, he wants a largely independent woman. And I it's so funny because this came up with myself and Tori from Ready to Love. We were talking about this last few nights ago, talking about this conversation and saying how we're discussing about our two types of women that we like going for: majorly independent women, and then those who are damsels in distresses. But the trouble with both of these extremes is they have their own downfalls. And I want to focus more on an independent woman, which is when you want a really independent woman, it often screams talking about, it often comes from a place of you haven't had much emotional care from someone, and that person relying on you too much becomes clingy, annoying, right? So you like that independent energy because you go and get yours. You don't rely on nobody else, and you don't want the other person now to rely on you because you don't rely on anybody else. It becomes annoying for that. So maybe that's part of the reason why he wants Katina not to be so damsel in distressy, but he wants her to just be able to get it straight away. You should be thinking about it. You should be it should be in your head already, right? So maybe that's partly maybe some of his thinking. I'm not sure saying that is exactly, but maybe that's part of his thinking, right? Let's play a little more.
And he already is, no offense, a lot to deal with.
I understand.
It could be draining in a sense, for me personally.
And now she's got to make a decision. And she's got to be strong with the decision, because I think that's what O is requiring from her. What O is trying to teach her, which I don't agree with, but he's trying to teach her in the way he behaves, is make a strong decision. And when you make a strong decision, show me and tell me, make me believe that you believe this decision and you're strong with it. Right? That's what he was trying to teach her the whole entire season. I feel like he's been trying to teach her, be strong with your decision making. If you're saying that you don't agree with me, tell me you don't agree with me. Don't let me run over you. Don't let me have my way. If you say I'm gonna have kids in 2 years' time, right? I can do it. I can go to school and I can give you the care that you need. If that's what he hears, he's gonna be happy. If he doesn't hear that and believe it, he won't be. Which is what comes up later on as to why I believe he said what he said about her. Let's have a look.
I would lock in and I would dedicate my life to myself because I know if I do it, I can bang this out in 2 years and be ready for you. If this is love, I'll be ready for you. I'm not.
So he lets her know, listen, if it was me, I would lock in the next 2 years. I would be focused on the schoolwork. I would bang it out in 2 years. And if it's really love, we'll get together again. So you can hear what he truly, truly thinks. For him, what he would do is he'd bang it out. He'd get on it. He'd get on the grind. He wouldn't be focusing on marriage. He'd be focusing on trying to achieve and attain. Now, whether I agree with that or disagree with it makes no difference. That's what he feels. That's what he thinks. And unfortunately, that means that there's going to be a choice to be made. Will Katina continue the relationship, or will she focus on herself?
Going nowhere. I'm not going to tell her that. I don't want her to do that. But if I was in her shoes, I would probably would have she asked for advice.
Now, isn't that interesting? He says, you know what? I'm not going to tell her, but if it was me, that's what I would do. Because as men, oftentimes we are selfish in this approach. We don't think about you. We're thinking about us and us first. That's one thing a man's going to do. He's going to think about himself first. And women are starting to learn that. It's not as easy to just as yet, but it's called decentering men. If you notice, is in his mindset, it didn't encapsulate Katina at all. But Katina is thinking about him, because women are often taught from young age to center men into their lives, which I get. And it does work when a society is one that looks after one another. But when you've got a society that has dysfunction, people are selfish, people go and do whatever they want, they are for themselves, the risk of a woman putting on hold academics, school, those kind of things for a man is highly, highly probable. More than likely, I shouldn't say high probable, more than likely, you're going to end up causing yourself more distress because you wouldn't have done what you wanted to do. You'd have been waiting and no man came along anyway. So what he's saying is, I wouldn't wait. I would go ahead and do it. Now, of course, the way that society looks at us is completely different with men and women. A woman can get married to a man and not have the degree, qualifications, anything like that because she's beautiful. A man can't necessarily do that. He could, but doesn't necessarily do that. It doesn't always work in the exact same way because men are judged on what their output is, whereas women are judged on what their outlook is. You get what I'm saying? So, let's dive a bit more deep into what you're saying.
That would be my truest answer.
So you think she should say no to
Yeah.
better herself?
Yeah, if you care for somebody, you will always look out for what's best for them.
Now he's saying that, but it's let's say a contradictory statement because he's not going to tell her that. He doesn't tell her he said he's not going to tell her that he would choose thingy. Now maybe what he meant was he has told her she should choose herself, but he's not telling her that's his advice. I don't know, but he's not going to tell her that. So is it really loving if you don't tell her that, bro? If you're saying that the loving thing to do is to want the best for them, why wouldn't you tell her and say, hey, look, I think the best thing to do is bang it out for 2 years, forget about me and continue your life. And if we meet up in 2 years' time, fantastic. If we don't, it is what it is. Why not do that? Because his needs now are still more important. Do you see? His needs are still important. That's why, as much as I heard it and I appreciate the truth also was laced with crack. And you take one taste of that truth and you're going to be cracked up, addicted. Because the truth of the matter is, he's still not going to tell you what he feels you should do. Now, if you ask him, he's going to tell you. But is he going to volunteer the information? No. Is that really loving? Is that really loving? To not tell her that you feel like this is the truth, that she should take those 2 years and better herself? Because you would. You got to give her that choice, right? But he wants to hold on because he's still getting something from this relationship. He still attained something from the relationship, which is fair enough. But then you don't really get the chance to say, oh, if you love them, you would do this for them if you're not going to tell her. Do you know what I'm saying? Can't use that bar. And I'm not going to beef him too much because, again, at least he's been truthful and he's been honest and he's telling us what's on his mind. There have been other cast members previously who have just lied some more. So I've got to appreciate and I've got to at least encourage him on the fact that he's been honest and open. I just need him not to be saying it's a loving thing to want the best for the person, but then not tell him that's what you've been thinking, that the best thing might be for her to focus for 2 years on her work. It's kind of contradictory. But let us know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of these two, Katina and O? Should O let her go? Should she choose herself? I have a feeling that I know what people are going to say already, but I want to get your thoughts down below in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. I appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay locked.